Welcome to Google Ads Unleashed, the podcast that helps you harness the power of Google Ads. And now your host, Jeremy Young.
Hello guys, and welcome back to Google Ads Unleashed. Hope everyone is doing fantastically this Monday. So today I'm gonna talk you through a tiny case study of ours, and it is about a brand that we recently onboarded at the beginning of March roughly, and at the beginning of April. And we have been sort of encountering a bit of a classic case here. This is a Meta first brand who have come to one of our business partners for advice on Meta ads, and they received fantastic advice. They've grown a business where in the last month alone, or last 30 days alone, they've turned over about 130,000 euros. With 40k in ads, so that's about a blended ROAS of 3.2, and they have generated a sensational net profit of 45,000 euros. That's not so bad, right? A fantastic margin. So overall, the MER is about 30%, NCPA is about 13 euros. So they've come to us because they have always been struggling with Google. Whilst they've put all their effort into Meta, and fair play, it is their biggest spender. It spends about twice as much as Google, about 2.5 times as much as Google. But they've always been struggling to achieve some sort of growth on Google Ads, okay? And the reality was they just didn't know what they were doing, okay? They had a friend of theirs who was sort of running the ads, but the reality was these guys weren't really doing anything. When I looked into the ad account, famous example I mentioned a few times in the last few weeks, I still saw messaging from Black Friday, right? Which is a complete disaster. So on we went, and we have, in my opinion, transformed totally where they are now in terms of revenue and in terms of profit. If we actually look at the last 30 days, there's no seasonality with this product versus the previous period, and apply that, then we see a total turnover increase of 50%. We've spent 55% more in ads, and we've also had 46% more net profit in the last 30 days versus the previous period. In the last 30 days, we spent 27k on Meta ads, about 10k on Google. And if I actually look at the previous 30 days, only 6k on Google, so we spent 4k more. And we spent 10k less on Meta ads and made that much more revenue. So what do we do? Of course, there was a sale in between, the Easter sale, which does sort of skew the data a tiny bit, okay? But it is, of course, a massive success. And I'm going to let you know how we did that on Google Ads. So just to run you through some more sort of data, potentially. You can see this on the video version, but I'm on a little bit of, I can't say who it is. You can see all of the conversions by conversion time in the ad account. Now, I'm aware that this isn't really an indicator of how well a channel is doing, but we're seeing if in the post-purchase survey data, and we're seeing in triple whale first click attribution and total impact attribution, and even TA, which is very similar to on platform anyway, that we are driving many new customers. And we can see the following. So at the beginning of February, we used to spend about 2,000 to 1.8 per week, with about 150 to 200 conversions recorded in the ad account per week. And now, since the end of March, when we stepped in, we went from about 1.5k spend and 200 conversions to the week after to 1,600 and 240 conversions. And then we went to 2.5k in spend with 260 conversions. And then last week we spent over 3k with over 340 conversions tracked. And if we look at the last 30 days versus the previous period, we see that this increase in conversions comes from our non-branded shopping campaigns. which we finally split the branded out, which is why we've been able to actually reduce spend on branded and spend more on non-brand, which is one essential part of how we got this to grow. We gone a little bit down on our prospecting campaign, but that's because the conversion value has been split with an experiment that we're running. We created a DSA campaign, so this is additional sales out of nowhere, which weren't really there before. We created a competition campaign, which wasn't there before either. Very unusual for that to work anyway, but it's something that we wanted to try and we're quite keen to try. And of course, we had a quite significant increase in our PMAX, where we are spending more. And we've had quite a significant increase in branded sales. So if I look at the conversions by conversion time, we've had 412 more in branded sales, of which we've had a total increase, give me a second, of 150 through brand, and that means 260 more sales from non-brand, which is quite good, right? So that's exactly what we want. So how did we achieve that? I can tell you how we achieved that. So if we look into the data, more or less, we did the basics properly. So first of all, we had a look on the site and had a look what can be improved on the site. We saw quite a few spelling errors. So this client is based in Germany, and German is a very difficult language. So first of all, we saw quite a few spelling errors, which probably would have diminished sort of trust a little bit. And we also did a bit of a competition analysis, in fact, using AI in order to understand kind of suggestions we can put on the site to increase the trust with potential new visitors. Then in the second step, we talked about goals. So the client had, to my dismay, not really a good idea of what constitutes a good budget mix between Meta and Google. He didn't really understand what a good blended ROAS looks like. He didn't really understand what a good MER looks like, and we simply calculated that, right? We went through various scenarios, what a good break-even ROAS would look like, how we arrive at that conclusion, etc., which allowed us, in many cases, to bid more aggressively as well. Some of the campaigns on target ROAS 400, some of them were 450, some of them had target CPA, some of them were manual bidding. It was a complete disaster. So just streamlining all of that really helped us to actually push ad spend and to get new customers in. And sometimes it's as easy as that. We quickly debated whether we wanted to do any profit tracking or anything, but I felt this would be an over-engineered solution at this stage of the business. Then in the next step, we actually looked at the feed. We implemented a CSS, right? So to save on click costs, which is a very common feature in Europe. Then we also made sure that the feed was completely optimized from A to Z, right? No exceptions. Product titles are fully optimized. We swapped out all product images which were disapproved. We did, of course, the keyword research to understand what kind of other stuff people could be searching in order to expand our appeal on the SERP. We looked into product feed, right? There was a lot of data in there missing, such as GTIN, such as other things which need to be fixed so that reviews could show properly. Reviews were already there, so that was fine. So that looked really good. And at the end, we've got now in Merchant Center more or less no errors anymore. It's not even saying any missing colors or anything. It is completely fully optimized from A to Z. And that, of course, has helped the quality of the ads massively. Then we got into the media buying. We did a complete overhaul of this ad account, okay? So the first thing that we've done is we've overhauled all assets. They were to a total disaster. There were not many site links at all. They were automatically created assets which didn't make any sense. They were not even image extensions. There was nothing, right? So we did a full overhaul of that and got the messaging correct and got the assets to a nice level. level where they will actually add value to our ads. We also went through all of the assets in PMax because a lot of them were very out of date. A lot of them were very naff, to be honest. So they were all replaced, and now we have up-to-date assets, and of course that produces much better ads and better results in that regard. Then in the next step, we actually built out the ad account with a proper shopping brand and non-brand split. We built an additional DSA campaign, which wasn't a thing before. We then restructured the search campaign completely. First of all, we restructured all of the ad groups because there were a lot of keywords with poor quality scores, right? So we've just written better ads that are better tailored to that. We then also implemented our first A/B test, which was against broad match, because we theorized that a lot of people call this product by different names, and they have different variants of that product as well. So potentially broad match would do really well, and within a week it showed instantly that broad match massively outperformed the potpourri of different match types that was present previously in the prospecting campaign. So with that, we applied that and already had good results. And now at the moment we're testing the homepage, which was the previously targeted page, versus the full collection page, and early indication shows that that is performing at a CPA €3 cheaper than the initial campaign. It's very early days, so can't really say if it would actually be performing, but we're about 40 to 50 conversions in, so the data is looking pretty good at this stage. We also overhauled the ad copy in there, like I said, and something that we also did is implement the correct bid strategy, target ROAS everywhere. Then we implemented a competition campaign. It doesn't really have many competitors, and people who look for this kind of product really know what they're looking for. So in these cases, competition campaigns really can make sense. And with that, we've added a few additional sales already, especially because one competitor actually has gone bust as well. So this is something that you can only know when you really work with a client. And as a result, people will be disappointed not finding this competitor anymore in the ads. As a result, we see, of course, that we can pinch those sales when people are looking for a competitor. The quality score is terrible on them, but there's nothing we can really do about them. Nonetheless, it is still performing nicely. Then we had a second search campaign, which was for a particular angle. We did exactly the same, slapped on a broad that is what seemed to be working better. We overhauled the ads, made sure the settings are all okay, etc., etc. One thing as well, we added Austria everywhere, very easy additional win as well, through which we could grow. We would have expected to only really see 10% more sales by adding Austria, because it's only 10% of the population of Germany, but of course we've grown beyond that even in that location too, which is quite nice. Then in that campaign, we're testing currently target CPA. It's very early days, but it's not target CPA, sorry, target ROAS, which is the prevailing bid strategy in the ad account. And from all I can see is that we are actually outperforming there by half of the CPA as previously with the and actually hit the target ROAS now on this campaign, which is super nice to see. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we will be seeing this campaign turn around, and we can keep that live as well. Then in the next one with brand, we overhauled brand by adding different ad groups for what people are searching for. The two main things that people were searching for were first reviews. So they were people who heard of the brand but wanted to make sure, is this company legit? What do other people say about it, etc. So we built a specific landing page for that. The second thing that we did is that we built a landing page for people who search for discount codes so that we could give them a proper discount code. code. That has really helped because unfortunately these kinds of search terms underperformed compared to normal branded searches. Now they're performing just as equally well. So that's helped drive more sales on brand, which may have otherwise been lost. So this is a case to be made where brand sometimes can be not a bad idea. That being said, for May, we're actually going to be testing a geo holdout on brand to see how incremental it really is. My prediction is it won't be. We actually been able to increase the ROAS massively as well. We switched away from manual CPC to target impression share. This was a test that we run as well, and it seemed to be massively more efficient. We have had 80% more conversions, which of course was driven by more impressions to part as well, but ROAS has increased by 40% on the brand campaign. Then we went into PMax and set all the settings straight in there. Like I said, we set the target ROAS there too. We overhauled all existing assets. We didn't really change the assets. So normally I would have had one asset group or one empty asset group, and that's about it for PMax. But unfortunately on this account, there's already been like sort of a legacy setup. So we didn't really want to change the winning team, if you like, too much. So we're just waiting now how that performs to see if we maybe can cut away some of the asset groups, or if we have to make them even more specific. We are also assessing at the moment how effective they really are. Early indicators show from our PMax Insight script that probably it is overspending massively on search and not that effective. So we'll have to see what we're going to do about that. And then we introduced demand gen as well. So we've taken all of the best performing creators of all time, slapped them into a demand gen campaign on YouTube Shorts, and we are testing that now for our client too. And yeah, so hopefully that'll drive revenue up too. We will see next week. We only launched this on Monday, which was the 21st. So on the 28th of April, so when you hear this podcast, it'll be a few weeks ahead already. You will actually see potentially some results then already of driving incremental sales and awareness of the brand. So you see, nothing fancy. All it was is do feed work properly, do your homework properly of what a good goal is, optimize towards that properly, cut away everything that doesn't work, reinforce more what does work, and that is how you drive more sales. And the numbers don't lie. Yes, we spent 10k more on Meta, but we almost doubled spend on Google Ads as well. And we have seen net profit actually be stable in terms of percentage of total sales, and actually scale up with the sales. And if you want results like that as well, please do get in touch. Do not hesitate. I would love to hear from you. It's Jeremy on Google Ads. You'll find me on LinkedIn. You'll find me at youngerdigital.marketing. And you can always send a message and we can see if we can do the same for you. This has been Jeremy Young, your personal Google Ads expert, and I wish you a happy and productive week ahead.
Thank you for listening to Google Ads Unleashed. To connect with Jeremy, check him out online at www.younganddigital.marketing. We'll see you next time.